It's Monday, March 9th, 2015, and let's talk about what happened this weekend over at xdadevelopers.com. First up, Mobile World Congress ended just a few days ago, and one of the items I was really pumped about out of that was the Huawei watch, and it has shown up on Amazon in Germany for pre-order for 999 euros. Wow. Yeah. Granted, it's just a pre-order and it's just on one website, but if it seriously ends up being over $1,000 for a watch, I don't foresee it selling much. From the not so great Google translation of the page though, it says there's no suggested retail price, so Amazon's price can actually change, and I suppose that means they made an educated guess at the absolute top dollar for this device in Germany, because it's easier for them to accept pre-orders at a higher price and then refund the difference than to accept pre-orders at a lower price and lose money because they have to honor those. We will just have to wait and see what happens when official pricing and availability are known. The second alpha for Xposed for Lollipop became available this weekend. It comes with a decent list of bug fixes, but keep in mind it is still not compatible with Samsung ROMs or custom ROMs based on Samsung ROMs. Links are available in Rovo89's forum thread, of course. Moving on to some updates, the Android 501 RUU for the Verizon HTC One M8 has been captured and made available. The Lollipop update for the Sprint Galaxy Note 4 has also started rolling out, and the OTA for that has been captured and made available as well. So if you've got either one of those devices, head on over to the appropriate forum thread for download links. Speaking of the Note 4 though, as of this weekend, CM12 nightlies for the European Note 4, the N910F, are available. So if you've got that device and you've been wanting to get some Lollipop on it, but not the TouchWiz based Lollipop, this might be a good second option. The second alpha of Paranoid Android 5.0 was released this weekend as well. It brings along with it the ability to reorder quick settings tiles, as well as reintroducing app ops. It's available for a handful of devices now, so if you want to try it out, go ahead and check out their site to see if your device is supported. Euphoria OS, the custom ROM formerly known as Madi, has been made available for the LG G3. It's based on Android 5.0.2 AOSP, and it does have a decent list of features along with it, and the developers seem to be quite quick on the draw as far as fixing bugs are concerned, so it might be worth taking a look at it if you've got the G3. An article went up this weekend as well talking about Google working its way more and more into the wireless side of things and becoming an MVNO. From what we know at this point, it seems that they're planning to pull together service from T-Mobile, Sprint, and Wi-Fi connections all on one plan, all on one device to work seamlessly. That sounds really interesting in theory, but there's a problem. According to Google, their service is initially only going to be available for the Nexus 6 because of the software required to make that happen. Granted, since it's a Google offering, if it's like every other Google service that they've ever made, for the most part at least, it should take off like gangbusters, but that's at the same time saying you immediately have to buy a $650 device before you can use a service that could potentially be not so great. It's a bit of a hard sell if you don't already have the Nexus 6. If you do want to read more about Google's announcements with regard to that, definitely check out the article over on the portal. However, speaking of Google, according to the Wall Street Journal, Google is working on building a new version of Android specifically targeted at virtual reality. Given the increase in popularity of VR in the last couple of years between the Oculus Rift, the Gear VR, Google Cardboard, things like that, I don't see this being terribly surprising. However, I am kind of curious as to how this is going to turn out. Google's done two targeted versions of Android that I can think of in the past offhand. I know there's one for tablets with Honeycomb, there's one for wearables with Android Wear. One of them has obviously done a little better than the other, but even that, it's still a little early to say. But like I said, I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out and how you would end up interacting with it. With something like Epson smart glasses, you've got a little handheld controller, but even that's not necessarily the best option because you're tethered to it. Do you have any thoughts or opinions about VR? Is it something that you're interested in? And if so, how do you expect to be able to interact with it? And that does lead me to one last thing to talk about. A debate article went up on the portal on Sunday asking for your thoughts about the future of virtual reality, at least as far as Android is concerned. They're asking if you think it's better to have it all unified or for it to be fragmented kind of like it is now, with companies like Samsung and HTC and Google and others like that offering their own unique solution. I think from the developer side of things, it makes more sense to have it unified, but then you kind of have to deal with all the hardware differences, so I'm not really sure. Of course, let us know over on the portal article. You can find links to everything down below. But you know what? That's going to be about all from me for today. You can find the links to everything that I talked about down in the video description as usual, as well as the links to my YouTube channels. Remember, if you like this video, please leave us a like down below the video and subscribe to receive all of our content as soon as it becomes available. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.